From the PEP Radio Newsroom, these are the stories we are covering at this hour. The United States Supreme Court backed a multi-billion-dollar oil railroad expansion in Utah Thursday in a ruling that scales back a key environmental law for projects around the country. The 8-0 decision comes after an appeal to the High Court from backers of the project, which is aimed at quadrupling oil production in the remote areas of sandstone and sagebrush. Justice Neil Gorsuch recused himself from the case. Environmental groups said the decision would have sweeping impacts on National Environmental Policy Act reviews. The Trump administration has already said it's speeding up that process after the president vowed to boost U.S. oil and gas development. The case centers on the Uinta Basin Railway, a proposed 88-mile expansion that would connect oil and gas producers to the broader rail network and allow them to access larger markets. Supporters have argued that streamlining environmental reviews would speed up development. The justices reversed a lower court decision and restored a critical approval from federal regulators on the Surface Transportation Board. The project could still face additional legal and regulatory hurdles. Environmental groups in a Colorado county had argued that regulators must consider a broad range of potential impacts when they consider new developments such as increased wildfire risk, the effect of additional crude oil production from the area, and increased refining in Gulf states. The justices, though, found that regulators were right to consider the direct effects of the project, rather than the wider upstream and downstream impact. Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote that courts should defer to regulators on where to draw the line on what factors to consider. Four other conservative justices joined his opinion. Simply stated, the National Environmental Protection Act is a procedural cross-check, not a substantive roadblock, he wrote of the Policy Act reviews. The goal of the law is to inform agency decision-making, not to paralyze it. Justice Sonia Sotomayor agreed with the outcome, but with narrower legal reasoning. In a decision joined by her two liberal colleagues, she said the court could have simply cleared the way for the rail approval by finding the board didn't need to consider any harm caused by the oil that might eventually be carried on the railway. In other news, a federal judge on Thursday extended an order blocking the Trump administration's attempt to bar Harvard University from enrolling foreign students. U.S. District Judge Allison Burroughs extended the block she imposed last week with a temporary restraining order on the government action. Harvard sued the Department of Homeland Security on Friday after Secretary Kristi Noem revoked its ability to host foreign students. The Trump administration also announced a new effort to revoke Harvard's certification to enroll foreign students, sending a letter Wednesday that gives Harvard 30 days to respond to the alleged grounds for withdrawal, which include accusations that Harvard coordinated with foreign entities and failed to respond sufficiently to anti-Semitism. A weather system swirling off the coast of western Mexico has developed into the first tropical storm of the eastern North Pacific hurricane season, forecasters said Thursday. Tropical storm Alvin was located about 670 miles south-southeast of the southern tip of Baja California Peninsula of Mexico, the Miami-based National Hurricane Center said. Maximum sustained winds were clocked at 40 miles per hour. It was moving northwest at 10 miles an hour. There were no coastal watches or warnings in effect Thursday morning, the Hurricane Center said. Alvin was expected to strengthen late Thursday, then weaken late Friday. The eastern North Pacific hurricane season runs from May 15th to November 30th. The Atlantic hurricane season begins Sunday, June 1st, and also stretches through the end of November. And forecasters are expecting yet another unusually busy Atlantic season. But they don't think it will be as chaotic as 2024, the third costliest season on record as it spawned killer storms Beryl, Helene, and Milton. That's the news at this hour. If you are watching our news videos on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the PEP Radio channel. Download the Live 365 app to take PEP Radio with you wherever you go. Up next is the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.